Not everything is a confrontation when we're going to develop intimacy. Not everything is me telling you something that I want you to know about me. It's got to be comfortable. It needs to be so easy to sit down, talk, share, talk about a lot of different things. Not every time heavy, deep, rich. Sometimes it just needs to be fun, superficial, meaningless, pointless. It needs to be comfortable. And if we're not comfortable sharing, then we're not going to be comfortable in any kind of physical way. From New Life Ministries, this is Going Deeper with Stephen Arterburn. I'm Stephen Arterburn. And Going Deeper is all about taking the tough issues, the hard issues of life, looking a little bit deeper inside so that we can gain some insight into our lives. Hi, Steve Arterburn here, and I want to talk with you on Going Deeper today about the letter I and what it stands for. Well, sometimes I stands for ignorance. And when it comes to intimacy, we don't want to be ignorant in any way. I do want to talk about intimacy today, and there's some things that increase it and things that kill it. Before we talk about sexual intimacy, I just want to talk about intimacy, because if you're not intimate with each other at a lot of different levels than sexual intimacy, then that's probably not going to work, or it's not going to work very well. So the first thing I like to talk about in the area of intimacy is appreciation. Do you appreciate the positive things about your spouse? Maybe you don't. So how about you back up and you start to think about the positive things, maybe even make a list and start to focus on the positive things about that other person. Here's something else to appreciate. Appreciate the journey that your spouse has been on. Good chance that parents weren't great, and so now you're having to deal with some things some residue that's come out of that. Or they were fantastic, and now you can't recreate the fantastic situation that they had, and you hold it against your spouse maybe. Well, we need to appreciate what everybody's been through and appreciate what I've been through myself and what I'm bringing to the table. And that leads me to this word acceptance. So I want to appreciate all the good, positive, wonderful stuff. I want to appreciate the tough things that the other person has been through, and then I want to accept the downside, the negative. Everybody has negative. And you rejecting it or you being angry over it every time, that's not going to help anything. So we have to come to this place of acceptance. I married this person, and when I said good, bad, health, no health, whatever, I'm there. I need to accept that responsibility. And I need to accept them and be there for them through all of the good stuff and the crummy stuff. So if two people that are married can't really appreciate each other, accept the downsides of each other, then it's really going to be hard to grow in intimacy. And each of them individually needs to get some help on how do I start to see the upside and how do I accept the downside. Now, intimacy must have a comfortable time for sharing. Not everything is a confrontation when we're going to develop intimacy. Not everything is me telling you something that I want you to know about me. It's got to be comfortable. It needs to be so easy to sit down, talk, share, talk about a lot of different things. Not every time heavy, deep, rich. Sometimes it just needs to be fun, superficial, meaningless, pointless. It needs to be comfortable. And if we're not comfortable sharing, then we're not going to be comfortable in any kind of physical way. Another thing I like to talk about, I call easy touch. I want to be easy to touch. If I flinch, if I've got some kind of wound that's causing any kind of proximity to be uncomfortable, I need to deal with that. And then when I'm touching another person, I need to do that in a comfortable way. Some people, if you were to push their arm like that, just kind of a little light poke, drive them up the wall because they had a parent or a brother or somebody poked them. like that, and it just triggers everything in them. So if I'm that person, I need to work through that. I need to do whatever work needs to be done so that somebody can touch me easily and carefully, and I can accept it, whatever it is. I don't have to react to every kind of touch. But we want to be easily touched, and we want to touch other people in an easy way. Now, the second thing is, I don't want to be in a routine. I need creative time that's not routine time. I need to be creative and think about what could we do other than just sit and talk, watch television. Let's go do some things that are creative. And when it comes to this issue of life and intimacy, if I'm always doing the same stuff, the same way, then I'm probably not going to be interesting to the other person. And so when I start to create time for us and willing to experience the creative time that has been suggested by the other person, there's some interesting things about me that come out. And life becomes much more of an enjoyable adventure. You know, before we get to the sex part, well, if I'm going to be intimate with you, I need to be honest about myself. I need to be able to make an honest assessment of me and how I'm building that relationship with you, and areas that have not gone well, and why I need and how I need to change those things so that I'm really drawing you in rather than pushing you away. Now, there's been a research project that says that if a person was having sex 2 times a week versus 2 times a month with their spouse, it would provide more happiness, enjoyment, and fulfillment than having an extra $100,000 a year to spend. Interesting research project. But when you think about it, when physical intimacy, sexual intimacy is right, it is such a gift. You know, some people think God didn't even invent it. It's just so wonderful. And so we want to do whatever we can to fix the problem if it's broken. If you're not being sexually intimate, there's a reason that it's broken. And we're never going to become more sexually intimate if we don't take the time, do the work to find out what is that reason. Where's the area that it's broken in? And let's just say 2 couples are not being sexually intimate because some really crummy stuff happened 2 years ago. All right, what do we need to do to wipe the slate clean? What does one person need to do so that they're trustworthy? What does the other person need to do so that they can fully forgive? My wife and I, we had the worst sexual experiences when we first got married, and we got help. And so I recommend anybody, humble yourself right on down there and get some help from somebody. Because now the fulfillment we experience, well, you know, I'm so grateful for it, but it required an admission that when it came to sexual intimacy, I didn't know what I was doing. Ouch. Because us men, we want to believe we got it all together. We do not have it all together. If it's not working well, if it's not providing a new dimension of joy, fulfillment, enrichment in the marriage, then we need to figure out why and figure out what we need to do to make it better. I hope and pray that you see that the intimacy we have in marriage it's to be a reflection of the intimacy that Christ has with His church. And you know what? There is so much love coming from God. There's so much sacrificial love that Jesus did when He was on earth. There is so much supernatural power from the Holy Spirit. There ought to be a way that we could get ourselves back to a fulfilling, sexually intimate place. And in the meantime, let's be intimate with each other. Humility leads to intimacy. Authenticity leads to intimacy. And just being real makes me want to be intimate with you. That's the letter I. See you next time. And we'll talk about the very next letter and a word that stands for J. What could it be? Jesus? I don't know. Let's see. Thank you for joining me for Going Deeper. I hope something I've said may have helped just a little bit. If you have a question you'd like me to answer or comment, just email me at stevesocial@newlife.com. I'll see you next time.
If you want to support Going Deeper with Stephen Arterburn, be sure to subscribe so you never miss another episode. And if you know someone who would benefit from this episode, be sure to share it with them. See you on the next Going Deeper with Stephen Arterburn from New Life Ministries.